I met with what we would know as the devil, and it surprised me because I was considered myself a really good person. You know, my mom had raised me to be a volunteer. I had volunteered since I was 13. I used to get, you know, on the bus after school and go to the seniors' home and feed all the seniors, and so I had never tried drugs, and I had drank quite a bit in my youth, but you know, I was overall a really good person. I didn't even have a boyfriend until I was 20 years old. And, you know, when I met with what we would know as the devil, it surprised me because I thought, how could I be here? I don't understand. And what, you know, I'll kind of jump forward with it. When I saw this evil entity, I understood very quickly that we're in the world of contrast, right? So up, down, left, right, you know, big, small, and my mind kind of computed that, not even kind of, it computed that if this thing is standing in front of me, then there has to be something in contrast to it. There has to be a God. And at that time, I wasn't a believer. And but out of necessity, I called in God and Jesus to be by my side, and miraculously, well, not even miraculously, just for me, amazingly, they were there. And I had God to my right, and Jesus was to my left, and they were just as we envisioned them, right? And as soon as this dark entity, what we know as the devil, saw Creator, his eyes bulged out and he took off. He was gone, and he just disappeared into the ether. And all his little gremlins that were with him, they were coming out of the floorboards. They were like growling, and they all went with him as well. And the room was clear. And I remember you know, asking Creator, why, first of all, did that happen? And the answer was that I was beating myself up so much that that the devil felt that he could have my soul, my spirit. And I came to have a quick flash that that's what is going on here right now. There is a battle. There is a spiritual battle going on the planet. And it is a fight for souls. It is a fight for spirits. And so, yeah, I felt very clearly that the only reason that I was face to face with him was because, not that I was a bad person, but my thoughts were so damaging towards myself. I didn't love myself. I didn't even like myself. I hated myself. I didn't like my body. I didn't like the curves that I had. You know, I was getting a little bigger back then. And I just beat myself up so much, mentally, emotionally, every which way, that there wasn't much love left back for me. And so that was really the whole lesson, was to start to love thyself, love thyself, love thyself. And in that process, I changed my life over the next year. I was having a heart attack, which is long standing in our family. My grandmother on my father's side died at 32, massive heart attack. My mom had quadruple bypass, 42. I actually had kidney stones up until the age of 14. And that, I think, stressed my heart. So there I was, 28 years old and having a heart attack. And I made a deal with myself because I felt the palpitation and the murmurs and the pain often. So I said, I'm going to lie down, and when I wake up, I'll see if it's still there. I'll go to the hospital. And so I laid down, and boom, this knife pain came in. And immediately I slipped out of my body, and I was floating, and a big brown bird came and lifted me up and brought me into the light, brought me through the house, through the, you know, up over the house. And I could see Earth getting smaller and smaller as we left it. And I was crying because he told me that we were going to see the council. I ended up in the light, and that's where all the lessons began. It was beautiful. The bird put me down on, it looked like a stool, a chair, but it was cloud. It looked like a cloud. And yet when I sat on it, it was firm. and the love from the surroundings also emanated up through the chair and into me. And so I was looking down at this stool going, what is it made out of? Because I've never experienced the feeling, like a feeling nature coming out of a chair. And just then I looked up, and it absolutely shocked me that someone was standing in front of me, and it was Creator. And I had a feeling to call him God, but I also was being downloaded, like information was coming in at the same time. And I could feel that there were thousands of names that he went by as well. So many different faiths and religions and belief systems. And so I asked him, what name do I call you? And I want to call you God, but what name do I call you? And he goes, it matters less the name you call me, as long as you call my name. And that touched my heart, because I realized that he's pure energy and just pure love. So we started to have a conversation, and that's where, everything began to unfold. And I was given these 5 lessons of life. Everything was telepathic. Like it was like having a full conversation, like what we're having here, but it was mind to mind, thought to thought. I skipped a part when the devil had ran. I went to bed, and I had cleaned myself up because I had vomited. I had choked on my own vomit. That's how I died the first time. And so I cleaned up the sheets and stuff and put them aside. And as I was doing that, I looked up. I laid down, and I looked up at the ceiling, and this black fog was coming in and filling up the room. And I started to panic. I thought, oh no, the thing's back. And it's kind of funny, because I was thinking to myself, maybe I didn't actually experience that. Maybe, I mean, this is seconds after Creator and Jesus left. When this black fog came in, all of a sudden I was like, no, I believe in God. Okay, I believe in you. Come back, play, because I thought that this was the devil coming back. And it turned out, I got on my knees. I prayed with such conviction, like I've never prayed before. And the black mist fog, it just kind of crawled down the walls, and it was filling the room to the point that I couldn't even see out the windows any longer. And so as it was coming in, I finally gave up, and I thought, oh, I've tried everything. And so I flopped on the bed. And as I was flopping on the bed, this big, booming, deep voice came in and basically said, you're safe. Just relax. Lie down, relax. The voice was so authoritative that I was like, okay, I'm going to lay down. Well, all of a sudden I started to be engulfed by this black cocoon, and it turned out to be the black void. So what I saw was there was a white void, a gray void, and a black void. And the black void is where all illusion begins. And so when I was floating in this black void, that's where some of the lessons started. And it was waves of wisdom would wash over me. All of these terms, they were given to me. I've never thought, oh, I'll call it waves of wisdom. It was as my thought would go out, it would go out over these waves that went to like a horizon, a summit, right? And immediately, all of a sudden, these big waves would come back rolling across, and I thought I was going to be hit by them, but they just washed over me. And so as I was floating in there, I asked, so is this what my elder spoke about, that this is the illusion, where all illusion begins, in the black void? And I heard, yes, this is the black void. And so you couldn't have negative thoughts in this black void. It was really interesting, because I was so used to having negative thoughts that I naturally tried, and it was like, oh, there's nothing coming up. It was like Creator was absolutely stopping those negative thoughts. And instead, I learned to train my brain to, in a very brief moment there, to start to exercise and think positive thoughts. And so they taught me a lot about, the mechanics of manifestation, I saw a memory of my first date with my first husband, and we had a very strange experience. I think when you have such levels of love, intense levels of love, you can do anything and everything. And so we stopped time. You know, on our first date, we had a lot of weird things. Not weird. I don't like saying weird anymore. So you know, so many people are saying, what do I do on this planet? What you simply build that muscle of love. Love not only yourself, but everything around you. When you come from an utter place of love, everything will start to open up. And so the mechanics of the manifestation, I saw that ideas start in your gut and your heart. And it's like an idea will spark, and it runs through your nervous system, and it goes up to your third eye, and it ignites like you know, what does Abraham Hicks call it? She calls it a rocket ship of desire. And that's what it looked like. It came up and went into the pineal gland, and then came zooming out, and it opened up like this cone. And as soon as it did that, little fibers came out, like gossamer fibers, you know, like really silver threads and different colors. There were purple and pink and green and all kinds of different colors. And they would go zooming out looking for corresponding people, places, things that you were wanting to create. And they would then bring back those people, places, and things to you to manifest whatever it was that you were desiring. So I got to see the actual breakdown, the mechanics. So now, whenever I want to manifest anything, it's really quite simple because I just feel it in the gut. I see it coming up, and you know, it's like that light bulb moment, the spark within, and I allow it to go out. I actually feel, you know, those threads going out and looking for corresponding. And I trust that whatever it is I'm desiring will bring back the best, you know, and highest good for me and all concerned. And so that was the biggest lesson in the Black Void that was given.